Hey guys, Millennial Matt here, back for another stream. I'm really sorry I missed out on my stream that I promised, not only in my um, Twitch schedule for yesterday, but also that I said on the previous stream that I would do definitely. But I'm sorry, life and all that just kind of catches up with you, and I couldn't make it work. So, I decided that not only in light of the elections, at least for the US, so that's mainly the demographic I'm talking to, but maybe other people abroad are interested in as well. So, what we're going to be doing real quick is checking out some of those results as they've, come to the light since yesterday's election, which I voted for. I voted in as well. Basically, all Democrat. It's the Republicans have made it so easy to vote anymore. I mean, I don't know. I guess to my not defense, I was not very political for a long time. I'm still not that political, but I understand that okay, this stuff's serious. And it's not there's some, well, at least not anymore. Maybe at some point there was a time when Republicans, maybe some or most of them were okay, but now they're aligning themselves with so many fascist demagogues and anti everything that's wholesome and decent in the world, like love or freedom, that I just can't associate with anymore. If they subscribe to a platform that says we're against this, we're against that, even though there's no reason you should be, then they're just bigoted, xenophobic nationalists, and I don't want that in my government. So, you wanna get my vote? Become a Democrat, Republicans. But of course they won't because, yeah. But anyways, let's see what my and so many other people's votes brought in for this country yesterday.
Here's what we know for sure this morning. Republicans did not get the huge red wave they were hoping for. It was a disappointing night for former President Trump, better than expected for President Biden. But the country is still deeply and closely divided. Neither man commands majority support.
And it looks like life could be about to get a lot more complicated for the White House. President Biden's skills at working across the aisle could be tested like never before. Here's how things stand so far. Republicans gaining 6 seats in the House, Democrats gaining 1 seat in the Senate.
So with control of Congress hanging in the balance, we have our course.
Okay, so we got majority Democrat in Senate, majority Republican in the House. Okay, majority Republican, anything's bad. So yeah. I wonder. It seems really close. Also, you can not only see from the graphs they have side by side each other, but I imagine that just off the top of my head, dividing up the percentage of how much better one side is in the other for the House and Senate, it seems like it's probably close to about the same, like a very slim difference.
Around the country in the battleground states ready to dig into why these elections, George, played out the way they did.
Congressional correspondent Rachel Scott starts us off. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, George, I don't know whether to say good night or good morning because it was a marathon of an election day. We said this election would be unpredictable, and it certainly was. Control of the House and the Senate hanging in the balance. But let's start with what we do know this morning. Starting in.
Well, I do see that my state of North Carolina has gone red. At least majority. I'm sure it wasn't like a complete landslide like Texas or Louisiana or Florida, probably like 75% red or something.
Pennsylvania, Democrats able to pick up a Senate seat just months after suffering a
Definitely
stroke.
The West
John
Coast,
Fetterman defeating
Coast,
Republican Dr. Mehmet Oz. We don't have projections in all of the states, though. Starting here in Georgia, a tight race between Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker. This could likely be headed toward a runoff. In Wisconsin, another tight race between Barnes and Johnson. And out west, they are still counting votes. A tight race in Arizona. And here in Nevada, you have the Democratic incumbent Catherine Cortez Masto. She is trailing right now Republican Adam Laxalt, George.
And Rachel, the House a lot closer than people expected.
He looks a lot like a Dr. Oz,
that Republicans wanted. They wanted to win by huge margins and quickly on election night. Well, take a look. All the gray boxes that you see here are races that have not been projected yet. We have about 40 House races that are still up in the air, and it's clear that Democrats are still putting up a fight, George.
36 governor's races on the ballot.
Yep. So let's get back to the map right here, because Democrats were able to hang on to some key gubernatorial races right here in New York, as well as Pennsylvania and in Michigan. Over to Georgia, though, even though we saw that very close Senate race that could be headed toward a runoff, take a look. The Republican governor, Brian Kemp, easily defeating Stacey Abrams. You know, George, we talked so much about how much headwinds Democrats were heading into this election, facing record high inflation, troubles with the economy, but they are clearly defying expectations so far.
Sure looks that way. Rachel Scott, thanks very much. TJ.
All right, George, with the battle for control of the Senate still hanging in the balance. Going to take a look now at some of those critical battleground states. So far, we have seen one Senate seat flip. That was in the all-important state of Pennsylvania. You heard so much about. This is now where John Fetterman beat Dr.
I mean, I guess it's fair that it's in the main title. John Fetterman wins in Pennsylvania. Cool. And then goes on to like a subtitle of Democrat beats Dr. Oz to flip Key's Senate seat. Yeah. I guess people do know Dr. Oz more than they know John Fetterman, but that's fine.
We bet on the people.
Look at this guy.
And you
he's so casual. He's not wearing a goddamn suit. He's wearing a hoodie. You know, whatever you want. Wear whatever you fucking want. Let's go T as well.
Eva Pilgrim has more from Pittsburgh this morning. Eva, good morning to you.
Good morning, TJ. It's a big win for Democrats, flipping that Senate seat here in Pennsylvania with a win for John Fetterman. You know, this was a race that we weren't expecting to have the results for possibly several days. But
I never liked your show anyways. I thought it was always a little sus, but now you've shown your true colors, you fucking quack.
Votes are in, and Fetterman coming away with the victory. Suburban women helping give him that win. Exit polling showing key factors that decided this race. Abortion was a top issue. The majority of Pennsylvanians didn't think Dr. Oz had lived in the state long enough to represent them. And that's exactly what I heard over and over again from voters as I was talking to them. Many parents in the suburbs of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, both moms and dads, telling me they didn't like everything about Fetterman, but the abortion issue was their deciding factor. Overnight, Fetterman saying he was humbled to have won this job. Amy.
All right, Eva Pilgrim, thank you for that. Many eyes across the nation have been on the battle in Georgia, the dramatic race between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. The tight race still too close to call at this hour. The candidates both holding out hope overnight.
We always knew that this race would be close. And so here, that's where we are.
Just hang in there a little bit longer, because something good, it takes a while for it to get better.
What's that?
And it's going to get better.
Let's go to Steve Osunsami, who's in Atlanta, for more on this as the candidates prepare for a possible runoff now. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning to you, Amy. This is super close. Many of us who live here predicted this. The polls appear to be right. The race between incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock and college football legend and Republican nominee is too close to call. Here in Georgia, to win, you have to get 50% plus one of the vote. There's a third-party candidate in this election. And throughout the night, both of the two major candidates kept reaching that 50% plus one of the vote and then falling behind.
He had a car going by him in the
Senator
background.
Warnock ended the evening with about a 30,000 vote advantage. About 2 o'clock this morning, an official with the Secretary of State's office put out a tweet saying that it was, quote, safe to say that this election was headed to a runoff, but he didn't say it was a guarantee. That's because, according to people I've talked with, that there are still thousands of outstanding votes in the blue-leaning counties that surround this city, Metro Atlanta.
Oh,
and
shit.
While they
We
say
better
it's unlikely that Warnock could win this
discredit their votes
it is
because
mathematically possible.
of integrity of the election.
4 weeks from last night on December 6th. The campaigns, of course, are prepared for this and ready to get at it. Voters, not so much. George?
I'll bet. Steve Osunsami, thanks. Let's go out west now. Janae Norman is in Las Vegas, Nevada. Both the governor's race and the Senate race too close to call.
Yeah, Georgia, it's one of those late Vegas nights, but not the fun kind. All the races here still too close to call. And the candidates were encouraging Nevadans to get out and vote up until the last minute. But 11 minutes after polls closed here at 7 p.m. local time, vulnerable Democratic incumbent Senator Catherine Cortez Masto filed a lawsuit asking a judge to keep 8 Clark County polling locations open for an additional 2 hours. She cited problems with printers not working that created long waits and delayed openings at locations that are required to be open for 12 hours. That was denied, but her focus on Clark County, which encompasses Las Vegas here.
What is this, a democracy? What are we supposed to get everyone's opinion? Is everyone supposed to have a say? Fuck that shit.
This has been a Democratic stronghold that makes up about 70% of the electorate in this state. And it's a county that Cortez Masto really has to win if she has any chance at holding on to her seat. She did have an early lead in the
And it's always the Republicans who make that call. I bet you that fucking judge was Republican. Because, think about it. Why would you not want certain people to vote? Because if you think your side is so good, then you should expect that everyone voting will just, the majority of them will vote for you, right? Unless you don't think it's that way, and if you could just stop some people from voting, then you might have a more chance that your people will get through, but not others.
The night, but then now MAGA Republican and election denier candidate Adam Laxalt looks to have a slight lead. It is still possible for Cortez.
I mean, that's the thing also. Like, you guys swear allegiance to a guy and many other people who are denying science, denying history, even though it was just, like it was a recent history. It's still history that they're denying when it comes to the election results or what happened at January 6th, that kind of stuff. These are the kind of people that you're running against, and you do not want them to get into power, because nothing's more dangerous than a politician who doesn't care about facts.
Masto to inch out of victory if those mail-in ballots break out heavily in her favor. But the bottom line, candidates here know every vote will count. It could be days before every vote is counted.
That's why they want some votes to not come in.
The crapshoot.
Okay, Janae Norman, thanks. Let's go to Arizona now, where Democratic Senator Mark Kelly addressed
Has he got a back problem? He's like kind of leaning over the desk.
I am feeling confident tonight. Now, at the same time, it doesn't look like we're going to have the final results for a little while. And that's okay.
That's okay.
Whit Johnson is in Phoenix. Good morning, Whit.
George, good morning to you. That's right. Mark Kelly's campaign. They expected this. They knew it would be a close race, and that's what we have right now. Still hundreds of thousands of ballots left to be counted, but Mark Kelly's campaign telling us they like where he stands right now. They told us that he's in the right position.
Like, for this guy, it's fine. He's trying to be casual
Republican
for his
Masters, the political newcomer who was endorsed by Donald Trump. Masters went home last night without ever walking out onto the stage to greet his supporters. The governor's race even closer at this point. Democrat Katie Hobbs holding a narrow lead over Republican Kari Lake. Lake has become a darling of the MAGA movement and a Trump favorite, repeating false claims about the 2020 election. She did take the stage last night, blasting election officials, telling supporters, "We will not stop fighting until we have every legal vote counted." And her team actually filed a lawsuit against Maricopa County after there were some issues with tabulation machines that were later resolved. A judge denied that suit, and county officials insisted that no voters were turned away and that people had multiple options to cast their ballots. Still, the Lake campaign says they are confident, too, that they can make a comeback as some of these votes from other counties start to trickle in. Amy?
All right, Whit Johnson, thank you. And as we've been saying, the race for control of the House is closer than many expected. That is evident in Colorado, where Republican incumbent Lauren Boebert is locked in a tight race. Mola Linghi is in Denver with the latest on that. Good morning, Mola.
Well, good morning, Amy. You know, the two statewide races here in Colorado, both going to the Democrat incumbents, Governor Jared Polis and Senator Michael Bennet, both winning re-election. Really no surprises in those races. But one race that was not expected to be close was Colorado's 3rd congressional district race. Republican incumbent Lauren Boebert in a surprisingly tight race with Democrat challenger Adam Fritz.
I mean, It's really astonishing there's so many female Republicans, not only in general, but especially now after all the stuff that happened with Trump. But, I guess, that's the thing, right? Enough propagandizing will turn even the lowest class of people in a party to support said party. Or maybe just Republicans will take anybody at this point. Okay, that's not to say that, they'll take anyone, so they'll let women judge. I'm not saying that women are bad at politics. I'm saying they think they're bad, but they're so desperate that to them it is a desperate move to even allow female Republicans to run. That's what I meant. Okay, just to be clear.
Boebert gaining national attention in her first term, really tweeting her way into the headlines, claiming that God anointed Donald Trump as president, fiercely denying 2020 election results, and saying that she is tired of this separation of church and state stuff. Now, by most accounts, Boebert was the significant favorite going into this race. It's a solidly Republican district in GOP hands since 2011. But, this race perhaps best illustrating just how close the contest is between the Republicans and the Democrats in this election cycle. DJ?
All right, Bola, we thank you. And the race for the House played out a little differently than a lot of people had expected. Bring in now ABC News political director Rick Klein to break this down. Okay, we kept hearing about a red wave. Was it a red ripple at least? What was this?
Definitely more the ripple territory, TJ. The magic number is 218. And look, the Republicans more likely to get there when all these races are projected than the Democrats. But this is a glance at the districts that each party was defending, basically sorted from the easiest to the hardest to defend. So you can see the Democrats were able to hold a bunch of their seats. They lost a few on the margins here, but they also picked up some Republican seats, including in Ohio and North Carolina, in Illinois. Meanwhile, the Democrats were able to hold on to some that a lot of people thought they would probably lose, including a few in Ohio, one in Rhode Island that we're watching closely, Virginia as well. And so this is a glance at why the Democrats had so much of a better night than expected. We thought they would lose a whole bunch of these, and this would be a very red map. It's actually looking a little bit more blue.
All right. Seems pretty comprehensive. It's close. Some cases the Republicans are winning. Some cases the Democrats are winning. Anyways,